Welcome to Creepypasta. Please like, share and subscribe. This will help us make more content for you. Thank you.
Meeting our son before he was born. So, this happened about 7 or 8 years ago. My husband and I were laying in the bed one night, watching television. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a child in the doorway of our bedroom. Thinking it was our only child at the time, I tapped my hubby and said, "Hey, shush, look, I think Connor is going to try to scare us." He turns and looks, and this child walked into our room. I can't explain it, because it was one of those moments that seemed, somehow different. We watched in silence, soon realizing that this child was not our son. He toddles in, head slightly tilted back, curls bouncing and diaper squishing. As he goes to the end of our bed, we see his head go down, like he was crouching, and when we got up to look, he was gone. I looked at Chris, my husband, and said, "Did we just see a ghost?" Then, almost as an afterthought, I said, "Well, we know if we have another baby, and he has curls, that he was here before he was born." We both laugh, because we were not trying for another baby at the time. Fascinated, we go to check on our son, and he was fast asleep. A few months later, I'm pregnant. Surprise! So fast forward, our new baby, Liam, is 2. He toddles in the room, head titled slightly back, and curls bouncing, and it hit me like a bucket of ice water. Holy crap, this is the baby that came to visit us. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind. Now, on top of that, whenever Liam is staying the night elsewhere, like with my parents, he comes to visit me in my sleep. For example, one time he came and just smiled at me while I was taking a nap. He was in a little red shirt, and his hair was cut short, he left with it long. The next day I go to pick the kiddos up from mom, and lo and behold, his hair is freshly shorn and he is wearing a little red shirt. I asked my mom, "Did he wear this yesterday?" And she replies, "Oh, yeah, he did, but he insisted on wearing it today, so he is." So, I looked at him and said, "Did you go see Mama yesterday, in Mama's dreams?" He just looked at me, he was 4, all big blue eyes and serious, and nodded his head. So, that's my glitch in the Matrix story. One of many, but the most profound. Our son, I guess, travels astral, and even stopped to see us before he was born. I would know those curls anywhere. The fact that my husband witnessed it with me makes it even more weird, but utterly fascinating.
Comments. Ever since I can remember, I've had dreams about my future daughter. Her age varies, ranging from me being pregnant with her to her teen years, but it's always the same girl. This gives me hope I'll actually get to meet her one day.
It's really crazy how it all works out. I have had many odd things happen to me since I was a child. For example, prophetic dreams run in my family. I would say that maybe this was why I saw him wide awake in my room, but then there is my husband too. He isn't as open as I am, but he saw him too. I mean, anyone would have. He looked like a solid toddler. Trust in your dreams, they are so much more than what people think. I believe our dream world sits in the astral, where a lot of spirits go, and we travel there and interact with them. I have so many stories, but I will forego telling them. There is a good chance you met your daughter. I think our children pick us, in a way, or perhaps the same souls are reincarnated with one another over and over again.
My 6-year-old daughter, youngest of 3 girls, has always said, since she could talk, that she waited to be born until she could pick my wife and I as parents. The way she says it is so serious and matter of fact, void of that childlike coyness that usually comes with just a sweet thought. Always made me feel like she really did make a conscious decision.
I went with my friend and her daughter to a Buddhist temple. She turned to us and said, "She's been here before, when she was in mommy's tummy. When my friend was pregnant with the child, is the last time she was at the temple." I truly believe your daughter chose you. This apparently happened to my mother, after she lost my brother, a stillbirth. My parents tried to have a baby as soon as possible, after they lost him, and my mom was getting really frustrated about it. At one point, she thought she might be pregnant, so she took a test and it came out negative. She was so mad and hurt that she tossed it in the trash can and went to go cry in front of the fireplace. What made it worse is that she had had phantom kicks in her stomach ever since she lost the baby. And they were happening as she laid there and fell asleep. So in her dream, a girl who looked like my sister, but wasn't my sister, came up to her at the fireplace and asked, "Is it okay if I'm not a boy?" She said, "Of course it's okay," and woke up. She went to check the test in the trash and very, very faintly was the second line. And that's the story of how I visited my mom before I was born.
People always call me by the same wrong first name. So like the title says, people, mostly people I barely know but have told my name to before, like patients at my job for example, always call me by the same wrong first name. Every single time someone gets my name wrong accidentally, like we've all called someone by the wrong name by accident, the name they call me is always Jennifer. Now, I think everyone's first instinct here would be that it is just confirmation bias, and that I just only pay attention to it when the name they call me is Jennifer, and that I disregard the times they've called me by another name that isn't Jennifer, but I took this into account about 8 to 10 years ago and started paying strict attention. I have never been called a wrong name that isn't Jennifer in this time frame. To get some logical reasoning out of the way, my real name does not sound like Jennifer, nor does it start with a J or any other letter that can make the J sound in English or any other language that I'm aware of. This has happened in multiple different states, so that rules out that maybe there's just a girl who lives locally to me that's named Jennifer, and we just happen to look really alike. Strangers that I don't know at all don't come up to me on the street mistaking me for a different person. It's always people who I've told my real name to at some point. Hell, even people who have known me for a short while, but long enough to know better, I'm talking over the course of several months, have called me Jennifer. The freaking priest that married my ex and I, who we had known for a year and a half at that point, called me Jennifer when we got up to rehearsing the vow portion of the wedding ceremony on our rehearsal night. Even though our names were written down in front of him, I freaked that he might do the same thing during the actual ceremony the next day, lol, but he didn't. He called my ex by his correct name. I do not believe that I look like any celebrity I know of named Jennifer and have never been told that I look like a celebrity named Jennifer. I have been told I look like other celebrities, but never a Jennifer. I don't hang out with or work with anyone named Jennifer. Nobody I'm related to is named Jennifer. I have been called Jennifer by people of different genders, different races, different nationalities, different first languages spoken, and from different countries. My real name is a common one, so not hard to remember. The only thing I'm left to deduce is that it's just a huge coincidence that spanned at least a decade. So Reddit, what do you make of this?
Comments. I get the exact same thing, but it's a little bit weirder for me. Like you, I started counting it after it happened the first time, and people always say the same wrong name, they never get it wrong with any other. But the thing is, I was supposed to be a twin and my twin died at birth. I don't tell people about this, and I moved to another country where no one knows my family. Every single time someone calls me by the wrong name, they call me by my dead twin's name. Every time. It's so spooky to me. In only the past 3 years since I started my new job, I've been called by her name at least 5 or 6 times. It's not a name that sounds alike, or has some of the same letters, so I have no idea why it's her name every time.
Have you ever asked your parents if they were strongly considering a different alternate name for you, and if so, what? If there are many timelines in which you were named Jennifer, and most of the things in the world other than you happening to be named differently are the same, then the timelines are super close together and can get tangled. And the people who know you across the timelines can subconsciously associate you with the name they know you as over there. Do you have a creepy story? Please share it with us in the comments, and we will post it on the channel. Please subscribe. Thank you.